Welcome to this installment of World Soccer Talks Tactics Corner. I am your host, Earl Reed. In this episode, we talk about Germany's 1-0 victory over the United States in Thursday's Group G finale. The victory sent Germany into the round of 16 as the number 1 seed out of Group G, while the United States passes as the number 2 seed by virtue of their better goal differential than Portugal. Germany had much of this match, took it to the United States. I want to focus a little bit on Germany, but also take a look at the United States and what was up with some of the roster choices that Jurgen Klinsmann made for the United States. If you take a look at this, this is a pictorial of Germany perhaps building out of the back from their base formation. Imagine the ball being at Per Mertesacker's feet or Mats Hummel's feet. And we're going to progress it forward here, see Germany push up, but also see the United States condense. And let's now talk about the United States a little bit. What exactly is up with this roster selection? You've got Clint Dempsey, Michael Bradley, Brad Davis, Kyle Beckerman, Graham Zusi, Matt Besler, Omar Gonzalez. 7 players. What do they all have in common? They all play in Major League Soccer. There are 2 players that are in the outfield, that play the outfield, that are in this roster that are Major League Soccer players that didn't start. Chris Wondolowski, DeAndre Yedlin, and Yedlin actually got him the match later. So what has Jurgen Klinsmann got in mind? My thought is pragmatism. If you think about Brad Davis, he plays for Dom Kinnear, a very pragmatic manager in my book. He's taken the Dynamo deep in the MLS Cup playoffs numerous times. He knows how to get his players to be disciplined in defense. Graham Zusi, Matt Besler at Sporting Kansas City, same thing. Kyle Beckerman has always been that type of player. Omar Gonzalez playing for Bruce Arena, same type of thing. Yes, Gonzalez has had his shaky moments of late, but if there's one thing that Bruce Arena has taught him how to do is to play deep and start the counterattack. So, and Gonzalez in Los Angeles has Landon Donovan, who we might talk a little bit about later, probably the king of American counterattacks. So, this is the case where Jurgen Klinsmann wants a pragmatic approach. Of all of the scenarios that the U.S. had where they would pass through, the biggest thing that they could do to help themselves would be to limit the number of goals Germany could score. The U.S. really didn't have to score that many goals themselves unless Ghana got out to a lead, which they never did. But so if the U.S. could keep Germany to a goal, keep it 0-0, even 2-0 or 1-1 or 2-1 wouldn't be the end of the world in this match for the U.S. What they didn't want to do is get into a situation where they're losing 4-0 because they've chased the game, or 4-1 or whatever it is. And so this is where I think Jurgen Klinsmann decided, let's play pragmatic. Let's bring on guys who are used to an MLS playing styles that are trying to limit chances, limit the number of attempts a team has inside the 18. And I think the U.S. did fairly well. There are definitely chances. Tim Howard came up big in this match. The only goal that was scored was in the 55th minute. Thomas Mueller on a second ball strike from outside the box. Just a beautiful ball. It's going to be very difficult for any team to stop that kind of a shot. Matt Besler did have a chance, but kind of spun out of the way and didn't get that. So you have to give the U.S. kudos as far as keeping the score manageable, keeping the game tight, not letting it get out of hand. This is just a picture that Kartik Krishnaiyer put up on the site today, Thursday, that has basically shows how tight the U.S. Formation was. And so let's just put up here, I wanted to show Germany's general movements, especially from their attacking players. You often would see Ozil or Mueller try to get behind the defense through some 1-2s. Schweinsteiger was the guy who would distribute around the midfield. Ozil would be a guy who would try to play a killer pass every once in a while. But for the most part, the U.S. did a pretty good job of playing some recovery in that. Omar Gonzalez had a number of breakups. He got them right. Sometimes you get those wrong, and that can lead to some problems. But generally, they were tidy. and the fact it was a 1-0 score line showed that the U.S. did pretty well. Let's take Germany out of here. I want to talk just for a couple moments about the U.S.'s troubles in the counterattack. What would often happen is that once they get the ball, they try to get the ball up to Dempsey, not necessarily just from Beasler or Gonzalez, but basically Klinsmann didn't adapt his tactics a whole lot from Altidore. He wanted Dempsey to try to play some hold up and try to get the ball back to either Bradley or Jones, oftentimes Bradley. And, once guys started to release up, Bradley tried to get it to them. Unfortunately, Bradley has been a sore spot in this World Cup. He has not been good enough. We're not sure what happened. My guess is that the Jozy Altidore injury probably hurt him as much as anybody. That means he's got to do more. Dempsey does okay holding up, but maybe Bradley isn't getting in a rhythm. But his first touch hasn't been good. His confidence is low. You have to hope, for if you're a United States fan, that going into that round of 16 that he gets his act together, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for the U.S. to have any kind of pressure relief when they go up against better teams like they're going to have to go up against Belgium. But let's also say, this is where Landon Donovan used to be a king for this team. And oftentimes Dempsey Dempsey was pretty good at this too when you had a striker up there. But Donovan not being with this team probably hurt in this aspect as much as anything. One area that, one way that the counterattack did work for the U.S. is if the defense, whether it be Gonzalez or Johnson, got the ball to Jones. Jermaine Jones has been one of the best players for the U.S. this tournament. And so if Jones has the ball, this allowed Fabian Johnson, Graham Zusi to head up into the attack. And Jones would often get the ball to Johnson or Jones in space through the pass. And that allowed the U.S. to progress up that side. There were some good passes up the other side to Beasley as well, who was attacking from the left back position. But usually it was only one guy progressing forward at a time, and the biggest thing was trying not to get caught out. And congratulations to the U.S. for getting through out of a group of death. Still going to be playing next week. And so United States fans look forward to that Belgium match next week, and Germany going up against Algeria. And that's it for this edition of Tactics Corner for World Soccer Talk. I'm Earl Reed, and we hope you enjoy your football. We're headed to the round of 16.